You arrive at the airport, and the scene is one of carefully constructed efficiency. You see the clean lines, the smooth floors, the massive humming structure of the terminal. It all seems like an ordered, seamless system. You see the endless security maze, the snaking velvet ropes, the uniformed agents. From the outside, it looks like a system designed entirely for your predictable flow from check-in to gate. But here is the chilling reality that veteran travelers and industry insiders understand. Behind the sterile walls of the TSA checkpoint is a rulebook, a code of conduct, and a series of operational exceptions that only the people wearing the uniform know. The truth is, airlines and airports are actively counting on you, the average passenger, to stay completely clueless. They rely on your uncertainty, your stress, and your natural desire to be compliant and not cause a scene. Why? Because a confused, rushed traveler is a predictable traveler, one who won't ask questions, won't claim their rights, and won't slow down the assembly line. The secrets I'm about to share with you today are not just minor inconveniences. They are keys to unlocking massive savings in time, money, and your overall sanity. These aren't just hacks. They are documented procedures and unwritten operational norms that are rarely, if ever, disclosed to the public. I'm not just going to scratch the surface. I'm pulling back the curtain on the entire security system. I'm dropping 18 unwritten TSA rules that will completely rewire how you approach your next journey. Think of this as your personalized, confidential briefing. Some of these strategies will help you cut security lines faster than a pilot rushing to the cockpit. Others will act as an invisible shield, protecting your most valuable possessions from damage or loss. And perhaps most satisfyingly, some will unlock premium travel perks you previously thought were reserved only for VIPs, frequent flyers, or those who paid for expensive programs. If you've ever found yourself watching a TSA agent interact with another traveler, or even with a colleague, and thought, they know something I don't, you were absolutely right. The difference between a smooth trip and a nightmare often comes down to one single word or one single confident action. And if your luggage has ever mysteriously vanished, only to appear days later, or worse, damaged, this deep dive explains the hidden liabilities and protocols that protect your property. So for the sake of your next trip and everyone that follows, buckle up, because once you are armed with this insider knowledge, once you understand the levers of power within the checkpoint, you'll never look at airport security the same way again. The system will stop being a confusing maze and start becoming a predictable puzzle you are equipped to solve. And if your goal is to keep winning the travel game, to always be smarter than the airlines and airports who thrive on traveler ignorance, do me a favor right now. Smash that subscribe button and join the BoardiFly community. We exist to keep you one powerful step ahead on every single trip. All right, let's stop talking about the rules and start using the ultimate TSA cheat code. Secret 1, the emergency priority lane, the time saver. You're standing in the main security line. It snakes for 100 yards. Next to you, often obscured by a simple rope or stanchion, you see an empty lane, the one marked crew only or TSA pre-check. But here's the true unadvertised secret. Most major airports maintain an unadvertised overflow or emergency lane. This lane is not just for pre-check, staff, or military personnel. It's an operational release valve for the entire system. TSA doesn't broadcast its existence because the moment they do, they'd have a mob of desperate passengers clogging it instantly. The key to bypassing the line is to give the agent a federally mandated reason to push you through. Walk to the nearest supervising TSA officer, make confident eye contact, which signals you know the protocol, and say this precise phrase: "Excuse me, my flight board's in under 30 minutes. Is there a priority or alternate lane I can use?" In most circumstances, 9 times out of 10, they will discreetly wave you into the empty lane or expedite your screening in the current lane. Why? Because TSA's overarching operational priority is the smooth flow of the entire airport. It's far easier for them to quickly push you through security than to deal with the downstream consequences of a delayed passenger, the paperwork, the irate airline, and the gate agent scramble. You are leveraging their own efficiency mandate against them. The phrase works even if your boarding time is further out. To cement your authority and confidence, Pull up your airline app on your phone, point to the official boarding time as proof, even if you're not actually cutting it close, and state the phrase confidently. Confidence, not panic, is the currency that gets you through. Secret 2. The liquids loophole, the medical exemption. The infamous 311 rule, liquids under 3.4 ounces, 100 milliliters in a single quart-sized bag, is burned into every traveler's brain. But here is the massive, legally binding exemption the TSA is required to honor, but rarely promotes. All medical and baby care items are exempt from the 311 rule. This isn't a suggestion, it's a policy under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, and similar regulatory mandates. This means baby formula, breast milk, liquid prescription medication, even large gel-based ice packs necessary for temperature control, all can exceed the normal 3.4-ounce limit. The hack, leveraging the law. When you place your bags on the belt, simply state to the nearest agent, "I have medically necessary liquids for inspection." This specific phrasing is important. They are legally required to screen these items separately using specialized testing, and they absolutely cannot confiscate them simply because they are oversized. Bonus tip for food items. Want to travel with a large container of homemade soup, a smoothie, or specific dietary liquid supplements? Label it for dietary medical needs. While TSA may need to subject it to additional testing, they cannot legally deny you the transport of medically or dietarily required liquids. This is the ultimate quiet way to bypass the $12 airport smoothie. Secret 3. Your luggage is insured, the liability clause. Most travelers resign themselves to a state of quiet despair when they see their checked luggage emerge mangled, ripped, or missing a wheel. They eat the cost, call it bad luck, and assume the airline is responsible. Here is the stunning reality. If the TSA damages your checked luggage during its mandated screening process, they, not the airline, are liable for the cost of repair or full replacement. They remain silent on this liability because every passenger who files a claim costs them time, administrative overhead, and money. The process for a successful claim. Photo proof is everything. The moment you pack, take clear, dated photos of your bag before you check it. This documents its pre-screening condition. File with the source. If damaged, you must file a claim directly with the TSA, not the airline, using their online form. You have a window of 180 days, but filing immediately is always best. The power phrase for maximum impact. When you file, be sure to use the term chain of custody. This sophisticated phrasing signals that you know exactly when your bag left the airline's hands and was placed squarely in the TSA's control, instantly strengthening your claim and placing them on the defensive. Secret 4. Keep your shoes on. The age and status exemption. We have been collectively conditioned to shuffle through security barefoot or in thin socks, performing the awkward balancing act of pants, keys, and rolling bags. But you are not obligated to do this, provided you meet certain criteria. TSA quietly allows 3 distinct groups to keep their shoes on: seniors over 75, children under 12, and anyone with official TSA pre-check status. This policy is not prominently advertised because a public announcement would instantly lead to endless arguments and slower lines. The action to take: if you are traveling with family members who qualify, skip the messy process. Simply state with confident authority to the agent managing the flow. Per TSA policy, the children/senior is leaving their shoes on. They will typically acquiesce immediately, saving valuable time and avoiding that moment of public vulnerability. Secret 5. Say no to the body scanner. The full-body AIT, Advanced Imaging Technology, scanner has become the norm. But here is the undeniable fact of federal procedure. The full-body scanner is entirely optional. It is your absolute right to request an alternative manual pat-down screening. Why this matters to the savvy traveler? Privacy and medical concerns. Many travelers opt out for legitimate privacy reasons or due to concerns over health effects, e.g., radiation exposure, though minimal. The killer hack. When lines are massive and the scanners are experiencing technical or procedural delays, which happens frequently, the manual pat-down often moves faster. You can strategically use the opt-out right to bypass a bottleneck. The power phrase simply state clearly and without hesitation, I opt out of the scanner. Bonus tip for implants. If you have medical implants, pacemakers, joint replacements, pumps, etc., always opt out. This preemptive action saves the scanner from alarming, eliminates the awkward back and forth about your medical status, and significantly speeds up the eventual screening process. Secret 6. The TSA Lost and Found Goldmine. That expensive laptop, designer watch, or even a charging cube you forgot in the plastic bin. It didn't magically vanish into thin air. It is overwhelmingly likely sitting securely in a locked, designated TSA Lost and Found office within the airport facility. The reason most passengers never recover their items is simple. They assume it's a lost cause and fail to follow up. TSA doesn't aggressively publicize this recovery mechanism because managing lost and found claims requires significant manpower. Eventually, if unclaimed, these items are inventoried and publicly auctioned. The strategy for recovery: immediately after realizing the loss, do not contact the airline. Search specifically for TSA Lost and Found, followed by your airport code. Every major airport has a direct phone line. Your best chance of recovery is calling within the first 24 hours before the item is officially cataloged and moved into storage. Secret 7. The Do Not Detain list. Everyone knows about the infamous no-fly list. But here is the positive flip side of the database. TSA maintains an unpublicized list of travelers flagged for avoiding extra, secondary screening. This list often includes diplomats, certain government officials, and, significantly, high-frequency travelers who have successfully appealed their repeated selection for extra scrutiny. The proactive solution: if you are consistently targeted for secondary screening, the extra swab, the detailed bag check, you can proactively request to be cleared through the DHS Traveler Redress Inquiry Program, TRIP. This involves submitting an online request to the Department of Homeland Security. If your case is approved, you are quietly added to the Do Not Detain or low-risk category. This is the ultimate long-term hack for removing the target from your back. Secret 8. Free luggage locks. You see shelves of TSA-approved locks at every store. Here is the insider truth: you don't really need to buy them. If a TSA agent is required to cut your non-TSA-approved lock during a random, mandated inspection, they are obligated by their own procedures to provide you with a free replacement upon request. The claim process. If you arrive at baggage claim and see your lock has been cut or replaced with a TSA-issued tag, immediately proceed to the nearest TSA desk, often near baggage claim, and state the following: my lock was cut during inspection. May I get a replacement, please? They typically keep a small supply of standard TSA-approved locks for this exact purpose. The vast majority of travelers never ask, allowing the TSA to save on inventory costs. Secret 9. The TSA Priority Hotline. Yes, a general complaint hotline exists, but that is not the secret. The real power lies in the TSA Cares line, 1-855-787-2227. While primarily established to assist travelers with disabilities, medical conditions, or special needs. Here is the hack. Using this dedicated line and planning ahead can often get you a designated escort officer to meet you and guide you through the entire security process. Imagine skipping the confusion, the self-consciousness of struggling with bags, and the long wait. Instead, you have a knowledgeable guide who facilitates your entire journey through the checkpoint. It's the closest thing you can get to a personal, complimentary TSA concierge, simply by framing your needs correctly. Secret 10. The No ID, No Problem rule. The panic sets in. You're at the airport, you've checked your wallet, and your driver's license or passport is nowhere to be found. Don't immediately assume the trip is over and accept a change fee from your airline. TSA has a required, established process for verifying the identity of a traveler without physical identification. The line to use: Calmly approach the security podium and state, "I need to complete the TSA identity verification process." They will then escort you to a secondary screening area where they will ask you a series of personal verification questions sourced from government and commercial databases, old addresses, past cars, mortgage details, etc. While it adds 10 to 15 minutes, it prevents a missed flight. The airline would much prefer you panic and pay their fees. The TSA, however, will still let you fly if you successfully complete the verification. Secret 11. Pack your luggage inside out. The psychology hack. This is a subtle but powerful psychological trick that leverages the training of the TSA agent. Pack your checked bags so that clothes, especially large items like jackets or sweaters, face outward, creating neat, visible, layered surfaces. The insider psychology: TSA agents are trained to be efficient and to look for anomalies. A bag that looks like a chaotic jumble of clothes immediately triggers a flag for a manual check because it suggests something is being deliberately hidden. A bag that is neatly organized with clear layers and items facing outward looks harmless and cooperative. The agent is much less likely to pull everything out if the bag appears well-ordered and presents no immediate suspicious shapes. Messy bags scream, "Search me." Organized bags signal, "Nothing to see here." Secret 12. TSA will mail your banned items. You get to the security belt and realize you forgot to take that pocket knife out of your laptop bag or that oversized container of expensive lotion. The normal outcome is confiscation. However, many major airports participate in a TSA property return program. Instead of surrendering the item, simply ask about this program. For a small, reasonable mailing fee, usually around $10 to $20, the TSA will inventory the item and send it directly back to your home address. You just have to ask for the option. Most travelers panic and hand over valuable items, completely unaware this retrieval service exists. Secret 13. The duty-free seal trick. That expensive bottle of liquor or perfume you bought at the international duty-free shop is clearly over the 3.4-ounce limit. How does it get past security? It's a key exception. It must be in a tamper-evident duty-free bag, STEB, with the seal completely intact. The critical catch: if you are connecting flights and need to recheck bags in a different country, or even within the US after an international arrival, you will go through security again. You must not break the seal on that bag. The moment the seal is broken, the entire exemption is nullified and the item will be confiscated at the next checkpoint. Secret 14. Get pre-check for free. This is a delightful, sneaky, and totally unexpected perk. Sometimes airlines, in coordination with the TSA, will randomly assign pre-check screening privileges to regular passengers who have not enrolled in the program. This is done as part of an ongoing test group or risk assessment model. The action: always check your boarding pass. If it has the coveted TSA PRE indicator, you get the fast lane, the no shoes, no belt experience with zero enrollment cost. Tip for families: if you are traveling with children under the age of 12 on the same reservation and you get a random pre-check selection, they automatically get the pre-check benefit with you. Secret 15. The unpublished family lane, the child-friendly shortcut. Traveling with children under 12? Many major airports operate a separate, designated family screening lane. This lane is often slower and allows for more time to deal with car seats, strollers, and the general chaos of traveling with young kids. They do not widely promote it because they do not want non-qualifying adults attempting to sneak in. The question: simply ask the agent directing the flow, "Where is the family screening lane?" By using the specific term, you identify yourself as an informed passenger, and the agent will typically direct you to the less congested, more accommodating checkpoint. Secret 16. Say the magic words, "Can I speak to a supervisor?" If you are facing what feels like unfair treatment, excessive screening, or confusion over a confiscated item, you have the immediate right to escalate the situation. TSA supervisors have wide discretionary authority to override the decisions and actions of frontline officers. The power move: simply state, Can I speak to a supervisor? Most travelers freeze up or become defensive, which is precisely what the TSA counts on. By asking for a supervisor, you show you know the chain of command and are prepared to exercise your rights. Important. Do not be rude, be firm, confident, and articulate your issue clearly. Secret 17. TSA can hold your flight. This is the most shocking and admittedly the rarest of the secrets, but it is documented protocol. If you are stuck in an unprecedented line and are absolutely certain you are minutes away from missing your flight, TSA officers can, and occasionally will, call your airline gate to notify them and ask them to hold the boarding process. The context. This is usually reserved for extreme circumstances, for example, a massive system failure. However, if you are polite, calm, and clearly explain the urgency, the officer has the discretion to intervene. The phrase to trigger action, could you please notify my gate that I'm delayed at security? This professional phrasing acknowledges their power and solicits their help, rather than demanding it. Secret 18. The quiet exit strategy, the final right. Here is the ultimate final secret. If you accidentally bring a banned item, a large bottle of water, a forgotten tool, or a small can of shaving cream, you are not legally required to surrender it for confiscation. Your option, TSA must give you the choice to exit the security checkpoint, deal with the item, and re-enter. This means you can temporarily leave the line, store the item in your car, mail it to yourself at the airport post office, or hand it off to a friend waiting outside. Do not panic and surrender valuable items. Know your right to the quiet exit strategy. Keep these 6 lines memorized, locked and loaded in your travel toolkit. Say them calmly, clearly, and with absolute non-aggressive confidence to signal you are an informed traveler. For the fast lane, is there a priority or alternate lane I can use? For oversized liquids, I have medically necessary liquids for inspection. For privacy speed, I opt out of the scanner. For lost ID, I need to complete the TSA identity verification process. For disputes, can I speak to a supervisor? For missed flights, could you please notify my gate that I'm delayed at security? Before you leave a document, take photos of your luggage, front, back, and sides. Organize, pack liquids and electronics neatly. Tidy luggage is less likely to be manually searched. Know your rights. Save the TSA Cares phone number 1-855-787-2227. At the airport, execution is key. Check your boarding pass for a surprise pre-check. Ask for family or alternate lanes if you qualify. Use your power phrases when necessary. The golden rule, stay calm, confident, and polite. Remember that TSA operates under a very specific set of federal regulations. And when you know those regulations better than the average passenger, you have far more rights and leverage than you think you do. There they are, 18 TSA secrets that collectively form your most powerful travel weapon. These are the rules that allow you to skip lines, protect your property, bypass annoying regulations, and manage the system on your terms. They are the difference between a stressful sprint through the airport and a calm, confident stroll. Now, I want to hear from you directly. Which of these 18 felt like the biggest, most satisfying cheat code? Was it the immediate relief of using the hidden priority lane? The revelation that you can opt out of the body scanner? Or perhaps the shocking fact that TSA can actually intervene to hold your flight? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I am personally invested in reading every. What if I told you your next flight could be ruined? Not because of turbulence or weather, but because you packed one everyday item that the TSA quietly banned in 2025? Most travelers have no clue the rules have changed. And if you're flying soon, whether it's for business, vacation, or just visiting family, you'll want to watch this to the very end, because today you'll find out exactly which items are no longer allowed, why TSA banned them, and how to pack the right way so your bags make it through security and your flight without a hitch. And trust me, if you think you already know what's banned, wait till you see what changed this year. By the way, if you travel even a few times a year, hit subscribe right now. BoardiFly breaks down travel rule updates before they catch you off guard. And this one's a big one. All right, let's start with the one that's catching hundreds of travelers by surprise. 1. Lithium batteries and power banks, the silent confiscation wave. In 2025, the TSA finally tightened enforcement on lithium-ion and lithium metal batteries in checked baggage. That means your power bank, your spare camera battery, even your e-cigarette battery, all of them can be confiscated if they're found inside a checked bag. Here's why. Lithium batteries can overheat or ignite if damaged, and the cargo hold doesn't have the fire suppression equipment to handle that. So now airlines and TSA officers are extra strict. To keep your gear safe and legal, follow these steps. Always pack power banks and spare lithium batteries in your carry-on only. Cover exposed terminals with tape or use battery sleeves. Keep them outside of hard-to-reach pockets. TSA might ask to see them. And never leave a device charging inside a bag. A pro traveler tip: keep your smaller power bank in your personal item under the seat and your bigger one in your overhead carry-on. That way, if your main bag is gate checked, your battery still stays with you. Repeat after me. Batteries equal carry-on. Checked bags are a no-go. 2. Cordless hair tools. Yes, they're now banned in checked bags. Here's another new rule that blindsided travelers this year. Cordless curling irons, straighteners, or styling tools powered by lithium batteries or butane gas cartridges are no longer allowed in checked luggage. TSA updated this mid-2025 after several incidents of butane leakage and battery overheating in cargo holds. So what do you do if you travel with one of these? If it's cordless and battery-powered, it can only go in your carry-on, and the heating element must be covered. If it uses butane cartridges, leave those at home. Spare cartridges are banned altogether. Plug-in tools without batteries are still allowed in either bag. Here's a little insider hack. Keep a plug-in backup straightener just for trips. It's simpler, it won't get flagged, and you'll avoid losing your expensive cordless model to airport security. So the new rule to remember here: battery or gas styling tools, carry on only, and no spare cartridges. And if you're thinking, that's already a lot to keep up with, wait till you hear what changed about your ID. 3. The real ID deadline. And why people are still getting denied boarding. This one's not about your bag, but about you. As of May 7, 2025, the Real ID Act finally took full effect across the U.S., meaning you can no longer board a domestic flight with a standard state driver's license unless it's REAL-ID compliant. That little gold or black star on your license? That's the sign you're good. No star? You'll need a passport or another TSA-approved federal ID just to get through security, even for a 1-hour domestic flight. To avoid being that person frantically calling home at the airport, check your license today. If there's no star, visit your DMV and apply for a REAL-ID. Or just use your passport as your main ID when flying. And arrive early. TSA is testing new scanners that sometimes take a few extra seconds to verify IDs. Here's your takeaway phrase. REAL-ID or passport equals go. Regular license equals risk. And while we're talking about risk, let's talk about what's still confusing everyone. The liquid rule. 4. The 3-1-1 rule. Still here, but about to evolve. Everyone knows the 3.4 ounces per container, 1 quart-sized bag, 1 per passenger. That rule's still in effect. But TSA's new CT scanners mean that change is on the horizon. In 2025, TSA confirmed it's testing advanced CT scanning lanes that can identify liquids in larger containers more precisely. So at some U.S. airports, agents may let travelers keep liquids and laptops in their bags. But not everywhere. Not yet. Here's how to avoid surprises. Keep using travel-sized bottles for now, under 3.4 ounces each. Place them in a clear quart-sized bag at the top of your carry-on. Declare anything exempt, like baby formula, breast milk, or medications. And if you're unsure, ask a TSA officer before you put it through. An insider hack: carry refillable bottles and fill them after security. That way you're compliant every time, even when rules vary by airport. So for 2025, 3-1-1 still reigns, but new scanners are changing the game. And speaking of change, the next update literally changes how you walk through security. 5. The shoe rule. It's finally changing. Remember when we all had to remove our shoes at security? That's changing, quietly but steadily. In 2025, TSA began rolling out new screening technology at major U.S. airports that lets travelers keep their shoes on. It's similar to what you'd experience in TSA PreCheck, but now expanding beyond that group. So if you've noticed shorter lines or less chaos at some airports, that's why. Still, not every airport is upgraded. Here's how to handle it like a pro. Wear shoes that are easy to remove if asked, but don't assume you'll have to. Keep your ID and boarding pass handy. Scanning is faster now. Pack your electronics and liquids near the top of your bag to speed up your bin time. And if you haven't already, consider TSA PreCheck or Global Entry. It's worth it. One of the easiest ways to breeze through security in 2025 is to look organized. When agents see your bag is laid out cleanly, they're less likely to pull it for inspection. Your new motto, shoes on, ID ready, liquids out. But hang on, we're only halfway through. Because in a minute, I'll share one hidden gem rule that experienced travelers use to cut down screening time, even without PreCheck. So keep watching, you'll want this one. 6th, international flights, where U.S. rules stop applying. One of the biggest travel mistakes this year has been assuming TSA rules apply everywhere. They don't. When you leave the U.S., you step into the rules of the departure country, and they might still be stuck in 2010. Many airports outside the U.S. still require you to remove shoes, laptops, liquids, and even tablets separately. Some have even tighter liquid limits, as small as 100 milliliters total. So don't assume the same bag that passed U.S. security will clear your next checkpoint abroad. To stay ahead, check the airport's website before your flight. Review the airline's carry-on items page. International carriers can be stricter. Keep your power bank and batteries in your carry-on. Some countries require you to declare them. And expect random swab checks for electronics, even if you've already cleared security in the U.S. Pro tip: keep screenshots of TSA and airline policies in a travel docs folder on your phone. If an agent questions something, you can show the written rule. So remember, different country, different screen. 7. Allowed doesn't always mean easy. Here's a mistake even seasoned travelers make. Just because an item is allowed doesn't mean it won't cause problems. TSA's "What can I bring?" list is comprehensive, but agents still have discretion. If your item looks suspicious on the X-ray, it can still be pulled, opened, or even confiscated. And that's especially true for cluttered carry-ons. So pack neatly, wires untangled, electronics in layers. Keep tools, chargers, and cables in small clear pouches. Put liquids in a visible section of your bag. And when in doubt, declare your item before screening. Here's a small but genius move. Take a quick photo of your packed bag before you head out. If it gets opened, you'll know where everything goes and if something's missing. Your new rule: allowed not equal automatic. Pack smart so you don't get slowed down. And now it's time for that hidden gem I promised. 8. The hidden gem rule. The courtesy clause. Most travelers don't know this. TSA officers are allowed to use their own discretion when deciding whether to screen you further. That means your attitude and how you present your items can make or break your screening time. The hidden gem rule, what seasoned travelers call the courtesy clause, is simple. Be pre-organized, communicate clearly, and act like someone who knows the process. Here's what that looks like in practice. When you approach the scanner, make eye contact and say, "Electronics are on top, liquids in front pocket." If you have special items like formula or medical devices, tell them up front, "I have a CPAP machine that's been screened before." Keep calm even if they pull your bag. They're not out to get you. They're following the algorithm. Time and again, travelers who use the courtesy clause get waved through faster and avoid random rechecks. It's not a loophole. It's a mindset. And in 2025, when lines are long and tempers short, it's your secret edge. So remember, courtesy is currency. And now that you're armed with that, let's look at what's coming next, because the future of airport screening is about to shift again. 9. The 2026 preview. What's coming next? TSA isn't done changing things. In fact, 2026 may bring one of the biggest shakeups since the 311 rule was created. Right now, new CT scanners are being tested to allow larger liquids, advanced ID verification that ties your face to your ticket, and expanded keep-on policies for shoes, belts, and laptops. In other words, the checkpoint of the future could feel more like a walk-through tunnel than a bin ballet. To stay ahead of that, choose bags that are scanner-friendly, no bulky layers or metal frames. Use travel bottles under 3.4 ounces until the official policy changes. Label your batteries and electronics for faster screening. And stay subscribed to channels like BoardiFly. We'll update you the moment TSA officially rolls out the 2026 changes. Future-proof your packing now, because when the new scanners go live, those who've stayed informed will already be flying smoother than everyone else. Your key takeaway: adapt early, travel easy. 10. Quick recap. The Traveler's Checklist for 2025. Let's lock it all in. Power banks and spare batteries, carry on only. Cordless hair tools with batteries or gas. Only carry on, no spare cartridges. Real ID is required for domestic flights as of May 2025. Liquids, stick to 311 until further notice. Shoes, mostly on now, thanks to new scanners. International flights, rules differ, always check. Allowed doesn't mean hassle-free. Pack clean and organized. Courtesy clause. Attitude and preparation can save minutes. 2026, new scanners, facial ID, and relaxed liquid limits on the horizon. If this saved you even one potential headache, hit subscribe right now. Because we don't just report travel news, we decode it. Flying isn't supposed to feel like navigating a minefield. And it doesn't have to. With the right awareness and a few smart packing habits, you'll move through any... I'm about to tell you something most travelers never hear until it's too late. Right now, thousands of passengers are breezing through airport security, thinking they've done everything right. Liquid rules checked, boarding pass ready, shoes off, laptop out. Yet their phone, the device their entire life lives inside, is quietly raising red flags they don't even know exist. Not because of what they did, but because of what they installed. 5 innocent-looking apps that can trigger further screening, get your electronics swabbed, get you pulled into secondary inspection, and in rare cases, delay or even deny your entry. And no, this isn't about illegal content or suspicious activity. It's about misunderstanding, patterns, and automated digital screening systems that flag travelers before a human ever sees them. Airports today aren't just scanning bags. They're scanning behavior. They're scanning digital footprints. They're analyzing risk before you even hand over your passport. And here's what almost nobody realizes. You don't need to be hiding anything to look suspicious. You just need to appear unpredictable to a system that favors clear, traceable behavior. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which apps to remove before flying, why they raise flags, and how travelers accidentally trigger phone checks without ever realizing it. Let's begin. Imagine this. You're at the airport, relaxed, boarding pass in hand. You breeze through initial security, shoes, belt, personal items, all good. You feel prepared. Suddenly, you're directed aside. Sir, ma'am, we need to take an additional look at your device. It feels random, but it wasn't. Something on your phone matched a profile. Not illegal, not dangerous, just unexplained. And airports don't like unexplained. No officer tells you what triggered it. Most passengers assume it's just random. It rarely is. And it often starts with communication apps. Apps designed to protect privacy, great for personal life, not always for border crossings. Apps linked to international communication, normal for global travelers, suspicious for someone who looks domestic. Apps you haven't opened in months and can't explain if asked. The first category? Encrypted messaging apps you forgot you installed. And listen closely. I am not saying these are bad apps. Some of them are brilliant for privacy and everyday life. But at an airport, they raise questions faster than anything else. Picture this scenario. Months ago, you downloaded an encrypted messaging app because someone sent you a link. Maybe it was for a group project, a club, a side gig, or a friend overseas. You used it once, then forgot about it. But to airport security, that dormant app does not look like a forgotten tool. It looks like a hidden channel. It looks like something you don't want seen because there's no recent activity to justify its presence. The software systems that flag accounts don't think, oh, they probably forgot. They think, why is this here? Most travelers never realize that questioning uncertainty is part of modern airport screening logic. And here's the twist that surprises people. It's not the use of encrypted apps that raises flags. It's the absence of context. People who use an encrypted messaging app every day, clear behavior pattern. People who installed it and never touched it again, unknown behavior pattern. Unknown behavior gets attention. Before every international trip, scroll through your apps and ask yourself one question. Could I quickly and confidently explain why this app is here? If the answer is no, remove it for travel. Reinstall it later if you need it. No downside, only safety. And if you're thinking, really, they noticed that? Let me put it this way. Modern travel security cares less about what you have and more about whether it makes sense that you have it. If that surprised you, the next one is even more misunderstood. Dating apps. And no, it's not about romance, privacy, or embarrassment. It's about geography. See, most dating apps store location history. They create movement patterns. They show social circles and matches in different regions. Completely normal for a frequent traveler. Totally harmless. But imagine this scenario. You open an app and there's activity in 3 different countries, across 2 continents, yet your passport only shows one recent stamp. You know the explanation. Maybe you used a VPN for privacy. Maybe you changed locations manually for fun. Maybe you were planning a future trip. But the system doesn't see fun or privacy. It sees a mismatch. And mismatches are what trigger deeper screening. In a world where digital footprints help verify travel stories, having footprints that don't match your passport creates questions. Most travelers would never link a dating app to a border screening issue, yet it happens quietly all the time. Not because anyone cares who you're dating, but because your digital location trail is now part of your travel identity. And here's the ironic part. Travelers often delete photos, notes, and browsing history before flying, but forget the one app that shows the most location data. If you haven't touched a dating app in months, or if you only use it casually, remove it before traveling. Reinstall when you land. You'll travel lighter, digitally and emotionally. But the next category, this one surprises almost everyone. Financial apps. No, not your bank app. Those are expected, not your airline card. Also expected, I'm talking about asset apps, crypto wallets, trading platforms, alternative finance apps. Again, not illegal, not suspicious by themselves, totally normal for millions of people. But here's why they raise attention. Crypto and alternative assets are border agnostic. They don't show a place, a geography, a country tie. To automated screening software, they create economic ambiguity. Airports don't like ambiguity. And if you're traveling internationally with no clear reason for an investment app, and you're not an obvious business traveler, it doesn't look dangerous. It just looks unexplained. And unexplained triggers verify. Suddenly, your phone gets examined. Not because you did something wrong, but because a system said, this traveler is harder to categorize than average. The world today rewards digital privacy and financial independence. Airports reward clarity and predictable behavior. Those 2 ideas don't always play nicely. If you actively trade or you're traveling for business, keep the apps. If you downloaded them to try later and haven't touched them, remove them before flying. Not forever, just to clear noise. But now we're going deeper, because the next type of app doesn't just raise flags, it can look like a security countermeasure. VPN apps. Lots of everyday people use VPNs to stream, protect privacy on public Wi-Fi, avoid data tracking. Smart move in daily life. But here's what most travelers don't realize. When airport systems scan phones, they're not judging the app. They're asking one simple question. Does the behavior match the travel purpose? A VPN app that you actively use every day? Consistent. A VPN app you installed months ago and forgot about? Unknown. And here's the nuance. Having a VPN isn't suspicious. Being unable to explain why you have a VPN is what triggers uncertainty. If you run a business, do cybersecurity, travel often, or protect privacy intentionally, perfect, logical. But if it's sitting there unused, unopened, or clearly installed once and abandoned, clean it up. Airports do not punish privacy, they punish confusion. And this pattern, explanation versus confusion, leads into the next app type that's quietly creating the most airport trouble right now. Because it's not about messages, not about finance, not even about privacy. It's about belonging, community apps, private groups, insider platforms, closed circle communities. You know the type: niche forums, exclusive groups, private access platforms related to hobbies, group projects, events, niche interests. Again, nothing wrong here. But here's the psychological trigger. Airports are trained to look for context. Enclosed communities without obvious context, especially if they look foreign, niche, or specialized, raise one question: what is the purpose of this connection? Most travelers can explain Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but if someone scrolls your phone and sees an obscure regional community platform you haven't opened in 8 months, now you're answering questions you weren't expecting. And yes, most officers will never ask. Most travelers will never face this, but the people who do, they almost always share one thing in common. They kept apps that meant something once, but not anymore. Digital ghosts. Traveling with ghost footprints confuses automated screening systems. It creates space for doubt. And modern airport screening philosophy is simple. When in doubt, verify. The best thing you can do before travel? Remove anything you don't use and can't easily explain. Not to hide, to clarify. The safest digital traveler is not the one with nothing to hide. It's the one whose digital life makes sense. And before we keep going, a quick pause. If you love learning how to navigate travel systems with clarity, confidence, and insider awareness, so you always feel prepared instead of reactive, make sure you subscribe to BoardiFly. This channel exists for travelers who don't want to just pass security. They want to understand it. Who don't just want cheap flights, they want smart travel. And who value knowledge over luck. All right, let's continue. Because there's one last digital habit that raises more airport suspicion than any app. And most travelers do it accidentally. Last-minute deletion. This one matters more than all the apps combined. Travelers today are smart. They clear photos, browsing history, old notes, random files. They think it makes travel cleaner. But here's what airport systems detect. And almost no one knows this is a thing. Sudden changes in data behavior before arrival. It doesn't matter what you delete. It matters when and how quickly you delete. Large batches removed before boarding? Suspicious. Rapid uninstall history? Suspicious. Why? Because patterns matter more than content. A clean phone raised zero suspicion yesterday. A suddenly clean phone raises questions today. The modern travel security mindset is not, do they have something to hide? It's, would it be unusual if they had nothing to show? Think about that. A phone that looks intentionally scrubbed can create more noise than a phone with everyday mess. Travel rewards preparation, not panic. Clean up gradually, not in a rush. Remove apps you don't use. Make your phone make sense. Because airports don't judge you for privacy, they judge you for inconsistency. And that brings us to the truth behind all of this. Airport systems are not deciding guilt. They're deciding clarity. Travelers get flagged not because they did something wrong, but because something on their device breaks the story. Your boarding pass, passport stamps, and device behavior should tell one consistent narrative. I am who I say I am, and my digital life reflects that. The moment it doesn't, the system looks closer, not to punish, to understand. The safest traveler is not the one who hides the least. It's the one who looks the most traceable, predictable, understandable. So before your next international trip, look through your phone, not with paranoia, with awareness. Ask yourself, If someone asked me why this is on my phone, could I answer confidently in 5 seconds? If yes, keep it. If no, archive it, remove it, simplify. Travel is smoother when your digital life travels well with you. So I'm curious, which app are you deleting first? The VPN you forgot you installed, the old crypto app, or the dating app you haven't opened? You arrive at the airport, luggage checked, boarding pass in hand, and you feel that familiar buzz of excitement. You've been looking forward to this trip for months. But then, in a split second, something goes wrong. TSA stops you. Something you thought was harmless, something tucked into your bag without a second thought, is flagged and confiscated. Panic rises. Time ticks by. Your carefully planned start to the journey feels like it's slipping away. This is the harsh reality for thousands of travelers in 2026. The rules are tighter, enforcement is stricter, and most people don't know what's coming. Seniors, families, frequent flyers. Anyone can get caught off guard. The problem isn't just TSA being strict, it's that airlines and airports rarely make these details obvious. Most of the time, it's hidden because it's easier for them to enforce than explain, or because a lot of travelers simply overlook these rules. By the end of this video, you'll know the 15 items TSA is most likely to confiscate in 2026, and more importantly, you'll know how to avoid losing your belongings or wasting precious time. Most travelers will get caught by at least half of these, but you won't because you'll be prepared. 1. E-cigarettes and vaping devices. Let's start with something that surprises a lot of travelers. Vaping devices. At first glance, they seem harmless, even commonplace, but TSA considers them high risk because of the lithium batteries. Imagine reaching for your vape mid-flight only to discover it's been seized at security. The truth is, it's not just arbitrary. A small battery malfunction on a plane can be extremely dangerous. Airlines and TSA enforce this rule rigorously. But here's the insider trick most travelers don't know. As long as you keep your device in your carry-on, remove any loose batteries, and store e-liquids properly, you're far less likely to face trouble. Picture yourself at the checkpoint. You open your bag, the device neatly packed, no leaks, no loose wires. TSA barely glances at it. It's almost like a secret handshake with security. Preparation makes everything smoother. And if that surprised you, wait until you hear what's next, because the item number 2 affects almost everyone who relies on tech while traveling. 2. Oversized power banks and lithium batteries. Many travelers, especially seniors, carry power banks for phones, tablets, or even mobility devices. But batteries over 100 watt-hours are a red flag. TSA doesn't just confiscate them arbitrarily, it's about fire safety. Lithium batteries can catch fire if damaged. Think about it. You're on a long layover, phone dying, power bank safely tucked into your bag, but you forgot the limit. Boom, confiscated. The key is knowing the exact watt-hour capacity and either checking the item or carrying a compliant size. This is the kind of detail that seems minor, but in reality, it's a make-or-break moment at security. And here's a pro tip. Always pack spare batteries in their original packaging or a dedicated battery case. TSA officers notice that, and your tech is far less likely to be confiscated. 3. Knives and multi-tools. Here's one that trips up travelers constantly. Multi-tools, pocket knives, or even small Swiss Army knives seem harmless, especially in checked luggage. But in carry-ons, they're almost always confiscated. The reasoning? Sharp objects pose a safety risk, even in seemingly innocuous forms. What most travelers don't know is that TSA doesn't just care about size. They care about potential misuse in flight. Imagine being a senior traveling alone, carefully packing your gear, only to have your small utility knife taken away. It's frustrating, but preventable. The solution is simple. Leave sharp items at home or pack them in checked luggage. Knowing this ahead of time is the difference between calm boarding and a tense security encounter. 4. Liquids over 3.4 ounces, 100 milliliters. The clear bag rule isn't new, but enforcement in 2026 is tighter than ever. Lotions, gels, hand sanitizers, anything exceeding 3.4 ounces is fair game. Seniors with prescription creams or travel-sized medications often get tripped up here. Here's what most people miss. TSA officers are trained to catch even slightly oversized bottles. And yes, they will confiscate them without hesitation. The solution? Measure, decant, and use clear bags. It's simple preparation, but it saves time, frustration, and money. 5. Medical items without documentation. Insulin, EpiPens, or any prescription medication must be properly labeled. It's not just a suggestion, it's a strict requirement. Seniors traveling with essential medications face real risk if documentation is missing. Picture the checkpoint. The officer lifts your insulin bag, sees no label, and flags it. Suddenly, your vital medication is in limbo. The fix? Keep medications in original packaging with a prescription label. It's a small step with massive peace of mind payoff. 6. Powders and supplements. Protein powders, powdered vitamins, specialty teas. They're innocent, yet many travelers have them confiscated. TSA limits the quantity, and unlabeled powders can raise alarms. Here's the overlooked insight. Pack in original containers, label clearly, or move powders to check baggage. Travelers who ignore this rule often face unnecessary embarrassment. Seniors who take multiple supplements should especially note this one. It's all about anticipating what might seem suspicious to TSA. 7. Sharp beauty tools. Tweezers, nail clippers, cuticle scissors. Small grooming items are surprisingly restricted. TSA treats pointed tools as potential weapons. It's a shocker for many seniors who travel with a complete grooming kit. The workaround? Place sharp tools in checked luggage or simplify your kit to compliant tools only. Small preparation ensures a calm, smooth checkpoint experience. 8. Sporting equipment. Golf clubs, bats, pool cues. Even lightweight items can trigger confiscation. Active travelers or hobbyists often get caught here. Airlines allow these items if checked properly, but carry-on attempts often end in confiscation. The takeaway? Plan ahead, check these items, and know the airline's specific rules. One misstep here can ruin the start of your trip. 9. Tools and repair kits. Screwdrivers, wrenches, hammers. Even small tools are restricted in carry-on. Travelers often pack them just in case for repairs or projects. The TSA's reasoning is straightforward. Sharp or heavy tools can be dangerous in flight. Seniors traveling with handy kits need to check these tools or leave them at home. Knowledge transforms potential stress into smooth sailing. 10. Aerosol sprays. Hairspray, deodorant, insect repellents. These are all limited. Seniors or frequent flyers who rely on certain sprays may not realize they're prohibited. Pro tip, use travel-sized aerosols, declare them if necessary, and keep them in carry-on only if compliant. This small step prevents a frustrating confiscation moment that could otherwise ruin your boarding experience. If you're finding these tips valuable and want to avoid TSA headaches on every trip, make sure you're subscribed to BoardiFly. This channel is dedicated to travelers who want to fly smarter, not just cheaper. Stick around. There are some surprises coming up that even seasoned flight attendants rarely talk about. 11. Self-defense items. Pepper spray, stun guns, and similar items are strictly prohibited in carry-ons. Many seniors carry them for safety, assuming intention doesn't matter. But TSA is clear. Check them or leave them at home. Awareness here prevents delays, ensures compliance, and keeps you stress-free. Sometimes preparation is the only travel hack that truly matters. 12. Unusual tech gadgets. Drones, remote controllers, advanced cameras. Restrictions are increasing because of battery risks and size. Many travelers pack them without thinking. Pro insight, remove batteries, pack carefully, and declare oversized devices. TSA officers notice these small details, and your equipment is far less likely to be confiscated. 13. Firearms and ammunition. Even small quantities of ammunition require strict declaration. Seniors traveling for hunting or security purposes may overlook this. A simple slip can lead to confiscation. Declare, Follow TSA rules and check these items properly. Legal compliance ensures safe, hassle-free travel. 14. Perishable foods and international liquids. Travelers returning from abroad often carry sauces, spreads, or packaged foods. Customs and TSA rules intersect here. Advanced preparation, understanding limits and documentation requirements, transforms potential confiscation into a smooth transition through checkpoints. Seniors or families traveling internationally especially need this insight. 15. Unlabeled or suspicious items in carry-ons. Old electronics, loose cables, or novelty items can all raise red flags. TSA officers are trained to flag items that seem unusual. The golden rule: pack clearly, label appropriately, and remove anything ambiguous. Small foresight prevents big disruption. Now that you know all 15 items, remember this: vigilance, planning, and foresight are your best friends at TSA checkpoints. Seniors, everyday travelers, and anyone flying can benefit enormously from knowing these items in advance. Preparing properly keeps your possessions safe and ensures your journey starts smoothly. The ultimate mindset? Plan smart, pack clearly, and travel with confidence. Let these words guide you through any airport scenario. When you travel, always think ahead. Clear bags, labeled medications, declared batteries, and carefully packed gadgets. These small steps make the difference between stress-filled lines and calm, confident travel. Now it's your turn. Which of these 15 items surprised you the most? Or maybe you have your own TSA story. Comment below. Your experience could help fellow travelers avoid the same mistakes. And for more insider travel intel, hidden perks, and expert tips airlines don't want you to know, subscribe to BoardiFly and turn on notifications. Until next time, fly smarter.